Hello everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today. My name is Ankita and I'm the Regional Manager for Africa in Frappe. I look actively into business and marketing enablements for the community. In today's session, we have Meena, who's the Head of Design and Technology at Axentor. He comes with around 15 years of experience in the software industry, with experience across design, development, operation, and business development. And he's passionate about open source technology as well. So in today's session, we will be covering how ERPNext can be aligned for the manufacturing company specifically. So over to you, Meena. Maybe you can introduce yourself and then we can start the session.
Yes. Hello, Ankita. Hello, everyone. This is Meena from Axentor LLC, who have been, I will walk you through our profile quickly. I have been working on ERPNext for quite some time. Ankita, can you please help with sharing, allowing me to share my screen?
Yes, sure. Just give me. Just check now, Meena, is it
okay?
Working
Yeah.
for you?
Thank you.
Yes, your screen is visible.
Yeah. So, thank you everyone for joining. A quick brief about us. We are Axentor. We are official partner since 2020. We have been the first regional 360 certified partner for Frappe. We also are we were the official sponsor for Frappeverse the last year. We recently established our overseas operation, expanding in the region and serving the US as well. And currently, we are looking forward to meet everyone of you in Frappeverse 2024. So next October, almost a month away. So hope to see you there. And we are growing year on year, doubling our sizes. So please, if you are interested in joining a high dynamically growing team, please connect with us. Basically, our services span through development on the Frappe framework. We do project consultation, project implementation, and provide support for companies ranging for different kind of businesses, manufacturing, basically, supply chain, distribution, and services as well. So this is briefly about us. We have worked on different kinds of projects for manufacturing companies, those working in the chemical industry, those working on discrete manufacturing, in assembly businesses, and other kind of manufacturing with make to order, engineer to order, or make to stock. So ERPNext is pretty versatile in this area. One key component to understand about ERPNext manufacturing module is how simple it is, yet it is very much configurable all the way to the transaction level, as well as it is totally integrated within the stock module and the accounting module, giving you flawless reporting line. This was a brief introduction about us. And a brief introduction about the manufacturing model. Of course, let's set some expectation here. To cover the whole manufacturing module in extreme details under 1 hour, it will be a little bit hard for us. Usually this piece of projects or this section of projects almost consume more time of this as well, even in the demo part. But we will try to touch base with the key principles and the key ideas that we need to make sure everyone understand about ERPNext and how it integrates and work out of the box. Of course, as you all know, ERPNext is fully an open source ERP system. It's not only an ERP. Recently, they have expanded into different standard applications like CRM and help desk and insights as well. But the core application that is built on the Frappe framework, which is ERPNext, have a very solid manufacturing module that is well integrated, as we mentioned briefly, within the stock and the accounting module. basically streamlining the whole costing operation that any facility may encounter. So in order to have an idea about the basic setup here, I know that some of the attendees know a little bit about ERPNext. Some actually are just being introduced to it. So I will try to mix and match the knowledge that we are communicating here. Basically, ERP requires some master data to be configured to be able to proceed and utilize the manufacturing module as you would expect in any real-day scenario. So the basic master data that you would have to set up is actually, of course, the finished material. Let's say in this example we will be showcasing today is a laptop and the various parts it will have. So basically here we just have an item called laptop, another item called speakers, the motherboard, the keyboard button, which is exactly the button itself, and the keyboard assembly, and so forth. So this is like the basic ingredient that you need to have to be able to utilize the manufacturing module, which is actually an item. In ERPNext, everything that is being used inside the transaction should be an item. This is something that you need to consider. If it's a tangible item, it needs to be a maintained stock item. If it's a service item, like for the case for contract, for example, a subcontract needs to be to untick the maintained stock item and just be a service item in that case. And of course, we can categorize the items within the raw materials and the finished goods. As you see here, for the laptop, it's a product. So this is like the very basic setup here for items. The other thing that we have to touch base on in order to be able to use the manufacturing module, of course, is what is called the bill of material. And here, the bill of material is the most important component whenever you consider the manufacturing module, because this is the heart of the manufacturing module. So, briefly, basically, what does the bill of material does? It introduces to the system the idea of the assembly, or what ingredients I need in order to produce a single item of a finished goods or a sub-assembly. And also, a note to have that ERPNext provides support multi-level, which is the most complex bill of material structure you would consider. So, for example, just to give you a brief example for this, to produce a keyboard that you use in your facility, let's say to have one keyboard, you will have to actually add the 25 keyboard button, which is pre-configured here. As simple as this is the basic level of a bill of material. Here, we just instructed the system that in order to produce one keyboard, you need 25 keyboard button in order to be able to produce this. You can just go ahead and submit this bill of material and utilize it in your production cycle, as you will show in few minutes. You can also make a very complex bill of material, which is not only not only dealing with the actual material being consumed, but also the operation. So, for example, I will just duplicate the same bill of material and I will just add an operation for it. And here it opened the door to the whole operation facility and the production manager to be able to record any kind of details that is related to the production process. In order to showcase this, we have to go a step back. Just like we introduced the items, let's introduce what is called a workstation and what is called an operation. So to have this kind of coverage in ERPNext, you need to instruct the system and let it know how your plant floor is being managed. So for example, here we have a plant floor, the main floor, and we have a workstation, which is assembly 001. And here we just instructed the system that this workstation, which is actually the physical machine or the assembly table that you may be using in order to finalize your operation. The workstation type holds the costing data for it, meaning that here you just instruct the system that each hour of operation, it will cost you like almost $5 of electricity, $10 of consumables, $35 of wages, and $10 of rent cost, for example. And this is being configured on the workstation level, on the workstation type level, which can then be utilized and fetched on the workstation level. Again, I don't want you to get distracted from me. This is like setting up and showcasing how complex and how detailed the operation can be met. So, and here on the workstation level, you can on the operating cost, you will see that it already fetched the whole details that has been pre-configured in the workstation type. And you can also override it here on the workstation level. And this is showcases how ERPNext is very flexible. On the other level, you can to be able to do any kind of capacity planning, you can record the start time and end time for each cycle. And this will make you able to process any kind of capacity planning, as we will showcase probably at the end of the session. So by now, just a quick review. We introduced to the system what is a workstation, what is an item, what is a bill of material, and what is an operation. And for example, here we have an assembly operation, and we kind of link it to the default workstation that we just have done a pre-configuration for, which is an assembly one. So if I to the module and added bill of material, and as you can recall, we have generated a bill of material, which is the keyboard assembly. Not with this internet connection, correct? Okay, hope you guys are ready. So here we can just add the operation as we just mentioned. So here we have an assembly operation. We here input the operation time. And for example, let's say that it will take almost 60 minutes. And here we have different
Just give us few minutes. Lina is just reconnecting. She's having some bandwidth issues. Meena, you can reshare your. If you're speaking, Meena, you're not audible.
I'm sorry about that.
Not a problem. You can reshare your screen at
Yeah.
the right. Yeah.
Okay. Any idea when I got disconnected exactly?
I think yeah, you were on the screen only.
Okay.
Yeah, you were
So
talking
here,
about assembly only.
yeah. So here in the bill of material, in the operation section, we can add any kind of configuration that we would require related to how the impact of the operation will affect our cost. So here, in order for simplicity sake, I just configured the cost to be $60 per hour, and this just to showcase how it gets reflected on the job card. Here we have the fixed time operation flag, and we have the batch size configuration. And this actually opens the door of a lot of complex real work scenario that once configured, you just go ahead and streamline for it. So I'll just skip it here and just submit the bill of material for the keyboard with the operation. And this also showcases one of the flexible features for ERPNext is we have like an SKU, which is at the keyboard, and we can have multiple bill of material for it. For here we have the one with the operation and one without the operation, and you get to choose which is which to control your workflow. As for the laptop as well, here we have the keyboard and the enclosure, and for the example, the speakers. So in order to recap here quickly, I know that the pace of the session will be a little bit fast, but I think just to cover the basics, and then we can open the Q&A and showcase more of the scenarios. So basically, in terms of the master data here, we have the items, the bill of material, the workstation type, which can control the costing, operational cost, as well as the workstation, as well as the operation. The routing document is set to just to group different routes. I don't think that we need to do this in the session, but you can you just saw the operation. You can predefine multiple operation in a different multiple operation, giving a route set, and this can be reutilized in different bill of materials. And this is also a very flexible feature you can be using to describe the engineering manager can describe, or the production manager can describe their operation flow by it. So it's very important to highlight that ERPNext is very versatile and flexible to support multiple mode of operation, multiple mode of manufacturing and production as well. So meaning that in either you are a facility that is working with make to order, you can preset the configuration in that way on the transaction level. If you are make to stock facility, you can streamline this operation as well. If you are engineering to order as well, you can combine this with the project module and do any kind a lot of complex work related to the P&L for the project level as well. This as well as I told you, as I mentioned quickly briefly in the introduction, you can utilize ERPNext in discrete manufacturing. You can use ERPNext in production, in process manufacturing, which is where if you are in chemical industry or in more complex industries like dairy industry, for example, or cooking industries, where the ingredients get to change on the order level as well. So in order to understand how can this be implemented, giving a single system without any kind of very complex modules that you need to install and configure, you have to understand the manufacturing settings as well. And this is like the master settings that you need to master during your implementation. So here in the manufacturing settings, you can configure the basic how you want the system to adapt to your operational flow. Quickly, you can allow continuous material consumption, and this is basically used in non-discrete manufacturing scenarios and some discrete manufacturing scenarios that usually don't commit to the bill of material being defined. In all cases, you need to have like the base bill of material, and then you can showcase the variants that may happen. And based on this, you can also configure the system to get the raw material cost based on the consumption entry, or you just need it to get it from the manufacturing stock entry that we will showcase in just a few minutes, as well as the back flushing feature, which is very old right now. You can process the back flushing, which is a pretty standard operation in production facilities based on the bill of material or based on the material transfer for manufacturing. What is the difference here? The difference is what is the source of truth. For example, that you have a quick business scenario where you usually do your work order and you commit to the stock levels expected to be consumed, which is pre-configured in the bill of material, but you have excess. In some cases, you usually use more or less than what is being utilized from the bill of material. This is where you can configure this based on the bill of material, or based probably on the material that you transfer against the work order on daily basis. And this allows you to actually consume more than more or less than what is described on the bill of material. You can manage your capacity planning based on the workstation configuration that we saw. For example, if you remember here, we have on the workstation, we can configure the job capacity that can run in parallel, giving a workstation or not. And this is like a feature that you can enable or disable, as well as we mentioned here on the operational, on the working hours, you can plan for overtime or just stick to the operational hour. I think having side by side makes more sense here. Okay. And this is how the configuration affect the day-to-day transactions as well. You can preset the lead time between operations, which is like the transfer times and so forth, to be automated to the default value for it is 10 minutes as well as for any kind of auditing process. You can limit the overproduction percentage for a given sales order, or have an overproduction percentage for a work order as well. As for the job cards, as we will showcase right now, there is what's called a corrective operation, which is like an operational flag that you can even have on the same assembly station or the same station, a corrective operation or a standard manufacturing operation. These two actually can be pre-configured, and the cost gets reflected to your finished goods cost, so forth. Here you can add more regarding the material transfer. You can transfer more than what you need if you need it, and you can automate the batch and serial number cost, as well as you can have, as I told you, that ERPNext support a very complex multi-level BOM structure that you can depend on. and we will showcase a very important tool that was recently launched, not that recently as well, but that makes the production engineers very well satisfied with the UI, giving the bill of material interface. So back to the flow. It's very important to showcase how ERPNext support the different modes of operation that we mentioned based on, as I told you, engineering to order or make to order or make to stock. The main difference is the integration with the stock and sales module. How can this be? So for example, let's say that we are considering a standard make to stock operation. So in order to have this kind of make to stock operation, you probably will configure on the item level, which is for our current example, the laptop. You probably will utilize some basic inventory features like the auto reorder, where you can just go here and ask the system to check in the whole warehouse, company-wide warehouses, and if there is no, let's say, for example, that you always keep 100 piece of that laptop in stock, then you can just configure the reorder quantity here to make a an internal request for around 50 or something, and this will be a manufacturing order. Okay, this doesn't make sense. Let's just make it. Once we reach the 50 threshold, we just will issue 5,000 or let's say 1,000. So this is like the very basic scenario that will happen. This is the automated way. If it's not the automated way, probably the stock guys will just go in and input what a material request for the laptop, which is a manufacturing request. And here we just say a laptop. Let's say it's required by this date, and we just need 500 laptop. And this is the finished goods. Yeah. So this is like an internal request, and this covers what the entry point for the make to stock flow. If we are gonna describe what is the main entry point for the make to order flow, it's actually simple, which is the sales order. So if we went out there and open the sales order, I'm using the awesome bar here for navigation, which is a pretty cool feature for ERPNext as well. And this is like an order that we just created before the session for the laptop for 3024 Palmer Production, one of our customers. So this is like a customer. Let's just do one again. You just, for make to order scenario, we'll just choose the customer, define the date, maybe enter their PO number, which is 252. Then enter the item they are interested in, which is laptop. The expected delivery date, for example, let it be next week. And they are ordering 30 laptop. Let's make it 50 laptop. And the ongoing rate for this, let's say that our sales guys did his job and just added our margins as well. And we configured it to be on the finished goods. And as simple as this, we currently have 2 open sales orders for laptop production, which is make to order scenario. And we have an internal request for a make to stock scenario. And the only difference between this and the engineering to order is that we just configure the bill of material based on each project's requirement. And this is the way it goes. And maybe in some cases, actually, we have done some customization in order to provide the customer with insight about each project engineering to order cycle. So, given that we have an open orders on ERPNext being recorded, it's also important that just to highlight for you guys, like that I already have done the purchasing cycle for the raw material here. So this is almost covered on the stock levels. And maybe before the production plan engineering decides to go on and start planning their work, actually they decide to check their stock levels just in case. So we have a very nifty report for this, which is called BOM stock report, which is very simple. You just choose the bill of material that you want to use and the warehouse, the raw material warehouse that you are expecting to check. And for this example, for the bill of material that we just configured in the session, we have to have one keyboard button. To generate one keyboard, we need 25 keyboard button, and we actually have in stock 2,500 as well. And to showcase the laptop flow, so if we just choose a laptop bill of material, which is the enclosure and the keyboard, here we have in stock 100 piece of enclosure, but we don't have any keyboard because this is like a sub-assembly that is done internally. So we can just use an exploded view, and it will show, this will like explode the bill of material and showcase its raw component. So we have basically enough to build almost 100 laptop, have enough inventory of raw material to build 100 laptop. So this is one of the reports that is integrated between the bill of material manufacturing module and the stock module as well. That makes your life much easier in your day-to-day job. So just to continue the flow, the master transaction document that any production engineer will be utilizing is the production plan. And here, this is like a simulation. Whenever they are starting to do any kind of production planning, they will decide whether they are gonna be fetching the open requests for the internal make to order flow, make to stock flow, and here we'll just get the open material requests, and here we'll get the finished from the material requests that we just created, and by then you will see that here we have the detailed raw material. In this, I just need to check. Yeah. So here I will just add the raw material warehouse to be checked. And this is like to check if we have enough inventory to produce the internal 500 quantity or not. So please let me know if I need to buy more more raw materials to be able to fulfill my order or not. And yes, this is the quantities that is gonna be required to be fetched. This is the plan to request item, and this is the quantity required per bill of material. And here you can see more details about the stock in quantity and the projected quantity. The supply chain guys will be very much thankful for the projected quantity metric here because it calculates, it even takes into consideration the placed orders that is not being delivered in its plan, and even if there is any subcontracting or any internal manufacturing order for any sub-assembly, this gets calculated within the projected quantity metric here. So this makes their life much easier when they are doing any kind of material planning as well. And here we have in giving the production plan configuration, here you have full control on multiple parameters, multiple flags you can use. You can include or distract or don't include the subcontracting item. You can consider the safety stock, which is an item level parameter. You can ignore the available stock and just like mention that this was like an unplanned work, and I just don't want to mess up my current inventory projections, and so forth. This is briefly what is happening here, as well as you can also do the plan for the main assembly and the sub-assembly as well here. So, for example, here we will be generating the keyboard sub-assembly, because this is how it is configured. And here we also have full control whether to change the bill of material. As I told you in the very beginning, each production item can have multiple bill of material in any cases, because this can support multiple configuration, for example, multiple keyboards, layouts, and so forth. And you can use your imagination as well as you can also configure it if the manufacturing type is being subcontracted. But unfortunately, I can't showcase the full subcontracting cycle within an hour within the manufacturing, because this will be like I will distract you more than I'm distracting you right now. So this is basically how you can be able to do this kind of production planning for what is called the make to stock order. Let's take the make to order flow, which is the core difference, as well as every simple feature for ERPNext, is just like a configuration, just like the option you are being choosing. So here you are choosing the sales order, which is the entry point for, as we mentioned, and we will just showcase orders that starting from today. We should be getting two orders. I think this order would be. So here, these are the two orders that we have open for the laptops. Here we have the one we created before the session, and this is the one we just created here. These are the two orders which totaled almost to 70 laptop. 80 laptop. Here we will be getting the finished goods for manufacturing. So you can consolidate it or not. Okay, let's disregard this. Here you are getting the laptops for each order. And here it will create the sub-assembly for each of these orders. You can change the planning of each as you might. Or you can just stick to the initial plan that you would need. For this kind of raw material, for this kind of material planning, I don't think that there will be any, because the projected quantity or the actual quantity that is already available in our warehouses will be able to satisfy these orders. So just to start to continue the flow from the production plan and showcase how the manufacturing model will actually work, we will be doing the submission here. And here it's very important to understand what happened. What happened here is just that we created the production plan. Based on the bill of material that was configured, we will be able to create the work order, or if there were any subcontractor PO available. Yeah. Sorry about this noises. So what happened in this moment? The production plan went ahead and created the work orders for us on our behalf automatically, and linked the bill of material being used. So if I just clicked here on the work order, it will help me navigate with the configured the generated work order here for the laptop and the keyboard. Of course, there is like a sub-assembly flow here that the production manager should cater more into the keyboard flow. So, for example, here we'll just start it. We can submit it here, I think. So let's say that the production guys started doing the keyboard sub-assembly here. I'll just review it. And here on the work order level, you have the whole full control, whether what kind of warehouses you are using. If the bill of material had any kind of operation configured, you will find it here. Even giving the nature of the flexible nature of ERPNext, even if the bill of material that was utilized with the production plan initially, you needed any kind of change to it, you can change the bill of material as well. But let's take this simple route here. So we just created the work order here. A very important thing to notice here is how will the work order integrate with the stock module. Based on the parameters that is being configured on the bill of material level or the manufacturing settings level, you can either skip the material transfer to the work in progress, or you can actually impose it. And this also simplifies your day-to-day operation. In this case, we will do it on the two-step flow, which is we'll actually do the start, which actually will require us to do the material transfer from our raw material warehouse to the work in progress warehouse. And here you will see that it automatically fetched the raw material for the whole 30-piece, 30 keyboard that we will be doing. And it actually considered the stock valuation in it, which we'll see how it will be reflecting in the final finished goods cost. So here we have material transfer for manufacturer stock entry. It needs us to define the warehouse. Just edit raw material. Of course, for any cases, you can just change the date and time, so it's highly sensitive. And here you can see that the work order is being in progress. Let me highlight something here. You don't see any kind of operational tracking or job operation, because this bill of material was configured only for the material and not with the material and operation. We'll showcase one with the material and operation, but this is the most straightforward path here. And once the work order actually gets finished, you can just press finish, and you can log in the quantity being finished, and you can actually do partial finishing. For example, you just can finalize a 25 keyboard. You have this kind of flexibility. And when you finalize a 25 keyboard setup, you will see that only the raw material being utilized for the 25 keyboard, not the whole system. Is pretty smart in this area. And here you can just submit it. And now we have 25 keyboard ready. We can go back, and at later hour, when we start to finish the rest, the system already recognized that there is only five keyboards are missing from that particular order, and it helps you complete the cycle. Straightforward, you're just submitting here. So here, what happened actually in the stock, on this kind of manufacturing stock entry, this is where the actual finished goods calculation happened. And even if for some kind of purchasing issue or accounting issue happened later on that changed the valuation rate for the keyboard button here, instead of $1, let's say it happened to be $1.25, you will find that the system automatically updates the finished goods cost on your behalf in a background job. And this is, of course, giving that you have the financial period, the accounting period open, of course. This kind of very detailed features that makes your life as a cost accounting department in a major manufacturing facility streamlined, and you have this kind of assurance in the day-to-day operation as well. So going back to our flow here, we can just open again the manufacturing. We can showcase the work order summary here. Here we have the work orders being opened quickly for 30 keyboard, and this is a change. This is what changed, what got finished, and here it is a different order that's still a draft order. I'll go back quickly to the manufacturing module. I will go again to the production plan. So here we have the work order. We just finished the keyboard. Let me also finish this one as well, submitted. Transfer the raw material. Finalize it. Thank you. And here we can go back to the production plan. So let's start it. Okay. Just finishing the keyboard. And here we can start finishing the laptops as well. So the laptops are pretty complex here. We have the keyboard and the enclosure and the speakers. Same flow will be configured. Don't think, yeah. So for house. Start the order, finish the order, work in progress. Keyboards are being in the work in progress. Yeah, the keyboard are being the finished goods. Okay, it's missing the valuation rate for the keyboard here, which should be getting it automatically. Let me check. We can bypass it and we can use another feature, which is added manually on the item level as well. But we can just update the cost later on. Yeah. So here we are doing the transfer, 50 units of item keyboard needed in warehouse, no material. Okay, I don't think that we, oh yeah, we don't need to do the transfer for the keyboard because it's going to be there anyway. So here we are doing this, and we'll go back, finalize here, the keyboard, we will just set it to be fetched from the finished goods. And here it fetched the actual cost. from the warehouse, the valuation rate. And finally, we get to have the produced laptop. And by this, we will have a complete order in the production plan is not done yet. It's 50 because we just fulfilled only one work order for the laptop here. Yeah, and we still have an open order as well. Yeah, so this is like a quick flow of how the stock module and the production modules both interact with each other. And of course, the background costing that happens in between. We have a lot more to cover as well, but one thing I need to touch on quickly is what is called the BOM creator tool, which makes it pretty easier to visualize any complex compound structure you may have in your bill of materials as well. So here with the BOM creator, I can just you even see the valuation, the current valuation for each raw material and sub-assembly as well being aggregated. You can just duplicate it and start changing it. For example, let's say that you need to add the speakers for this structure. You just need to have input the name here, so it's laptop with speakers. So we're giving this preview. Let's say that here you can add on the laptop level, you can add one raw material. Let's say that you just want to add the speakers, add 2 of them, and the structure gets updated. And as simple as this, and as visual as this hierarchy, you can utilize on your day-to-day activities. One pretty cool feature as well, which is the BOM update tool. Here you can just create a bill of material you have. Well, let's say just to showcase something here, the BOM creator tool actually, it's like a pretty nice tool you have to visualize a very complex structure and configure some of the valuation methods being used. Here, you can either use a different price list for the costing, or you can use the actual stock valuation rate or the last purchase rate as well. Anyway, how this actually works in the background is that it actually creates actually bill of materials, like the one that we used on the background. And this is what the system gets to interact with it. And this also showcases something of how ERPNext constantly evolve within the user experience flow, and how it keeps these changes compatible with older structures. So here you have what we actually did over that is that the system created from the BOM creator tool, it created multi-level bill of material based on the configuration. Here we should find 2 speakers added as well. We also have the BOM comparison tool, which can be pretty handy whenever, especially in some engineering to order scenarios where your engineers are constantly doing bill of materials just for each piece or each order. So here, so laptop 3 versus laptop 1, it will give you a complete difference, complete comparison, whether in item rates, amounts, and quantities and structures as well. It will give you what rows being added or what rows are not, even for the exploded BOM or the simple BOM. More what we didn't get the time to touch on, based on more on the operation side, how ERPNext actually work with more the job, what is called the job cards. I think we have one here configured with operation equals yes. Yeah, the keyboard here. So here we have this bill of material pre-configured with the operation code, cost. So let's make just a simple work order. And by the way, one way to see how flexible ERPNext is that you can directly bypass the production plan and you can just create a work order for a specific item. Let's say the keyboard. And let's say that you need to create 50 keyboards. I don't think that we have enough stock, so let's make it 10 keyboards. Yeah. And I will just make sure I'm using this bill of material here. By design, ERPNext fetches the default one. You can override it here if you have the permission. Yeah, and here is the configuration for the work order. And here, since this work order actually has operation, so here it fetched the details here. And we can just define the source warehouse, which is definitely raw material. The difference here is that you now have the job cards, which is actually being used to track the time, the operational time for the assembly in this case. So you can start the transfer for the raw material from the raw material to the work in progress. And then you can go back and the worker can start logging their job card details. There's something wrong with it. I'm not sure why it's getting me this, but let's open it. So here, let's allow the overproduction. Let's see. Here, the system already automatically created a job card for me that we can use. Yeah. On submission, yeah, I got it. Here is, which is a very nifty validation. The system already in the background created one open job card for me, so I didn't have to manually create another one on submitting the job card. And here, what is actually required for me to be logging, depending on the configuration that we had the fixed amount, the fixed time, but you can actually have your employees log their time. So let's say that I'm just reporting here as Mina. Yeah. And yeah. So I can start logging who am I based on permission on the real world actually. So this will showcase that this job card is being in process. And once you actually complete your job, so let's say that you can pause it as well, then resume it. And this can be connected to any kind of touch interface near the workstation that you have. And this will give you more accurate reporting. And here you can just say how much you just completed the job. And I think given the time frames that we actually logged here, we can just add a little bit more time. So if the users have the actual permission to be editing the time logs, they can do this, or you can just depend on it. I just want to make it sure it is 1 hour of operation. Sure, it's saving. Okay. So here, the job card is done. And if you went back to the work order, once you finalize it, here you will see the combination between the raw material being utilized and the additional operational cost being calculated, and it reflects on the unit cost as well as it reflects on your financial statement as a contra account that can be netted out during your standard financial operation procedure. And here, the main difference that you will see, giving the accounting ledger, as I mentioned briefly, you will find that it is being reported the expense, the additional operational expenses on the unit cost as well. And this is one area you usually do a lot of customization for our customers, because each customer have the multiple requirements, giving the how they close out their unit costs, and this, do different kind of distribution, cost distribution over them. So basically, we are just 5 minutes above our expected time. What we wanted to touch base on how easy it is. We can use the manufacturing module. I know it's not that easy, but actually, giving the complexity being handled in the background, a lot can be giving that. A lot have been streamlined for us using the manufacturing module. How it integrates with our financials and our costing briefly, and how it integrates with the stock operation as well. Of course, there are multiple features that is related to this. Like you can on each workstation level, you can log any kind of downtime entry and do the full analysis on it. Here, for example. And you can also configure this as well. You can mention who is the operator, which workstation that went down. Let's say our assembly is the workstation, or when did it went down? Let's say yesterday it went down for like an hour or so. Yeah, you can do this. You can have any kind. You can have preset reasons as well, and this like you have a streamlined reporting workflow for it. You can also have the inspection, the quality inspection on the BOM level, which actually makes sure that you have giving any kind of, whenever you do any kind of production, you always specify like a mandatory quality inspection to happen. You can also start logging your scrap on the BOM level and update it on work order by work order. The details doesn't end in an hour, unfortunately, Yeah, but you have all this kind of control you can utilize on your day-to-day. You can also build different workflows, given how complex your business is. Yeah, I think I have give you a little bit of a headache. We are open for any kind of Q&A. I'm not sure how to see it. And if there's anything you need to touch base on, yeah, I'm here. Not sure how.
I think there are some questions in the chat box. I can just maybe let
Thanks
you.
for that.
Yeah. So, Mohammed Sami asked this question that how can we apply different tax rate in sales invoice?
I have a question. Is it possible to calculate? Sorry, I see only two questions.
No.
Can you
In
repeat
the
the question?
webinar,
Yeah.
how can we apply different tax rates in sales invoice?
Okay. This is not directly for manufacturing, if I understand it correctly. But for sales invoices, if you have different tax rates for the same item, you will have to use the item tax template. It requires some sort of configuration, but basically what you can do, for example, let's say that you have the laptop here. Let's say you have two item tax templates pre-configured. Let's say this, okay. You have the 6.
Mina, if you're speaking, you're not audible. I think there are some connectivity issues at this time. Please give us 2 minutes. Yeah, Mina, we lost you for 2 minutes.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, so here we have two different item tax templates. One is 4% and one is 6.25%. If you need to do like a sales invoice for this kind of two items, which have two different tax structure, let's say the keyboard and the speakers for this example, if you are not doing the manufacturing part of it, you will have to record here the 4% here. Yeah, but this both have to do same category. Yeah. And the speaker, you will have to put it like here. You have to assign the different template. Which one I choose here? Okay, like 4% FD, and here we should choose 6% FD. And let's say should be fetching it automatically. So here on the sales invoice, you can choose the customer, choose the speaker, should fetch the item tax template here as the 6%, and the keyboard let's say this goes for 100 and this goes for 100. Here you will see that it fetches the 4% item tax template, and accordingly we should remove the default here. And supposedly this should work if it was pre-configured correctly. Yeah, this is usually how you should be doing it. But I see maybe they belong to different setup. But yeah, this is the way you should investigate using item tax template. Probably both have different. I think maybe yeah. They should have the same category. Maybe just add it here. Yeah. Yeah. Who was the question was from whom exactly? Because I don't see it. Ahmed, I see. Ankita, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible. The next question
Ahmed.
that we have, Oki has given some case situations where ERPNext can he's actually contemplating whether ERPNext can be used in these situations. So the
Okay.
first situation is the BOM is changing, updated while the work order or the manufacturing order is running. So can the BOM be changing? Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, once the work order, يعني as you saw the flow, if you have a work order, once the work order gets submitted, you cannot simply change the bill of material that was utilized in its creation. You can change it just before it starts or just before it gets submitted. This can be configured within with some customization, I guess. Also, probably you don't need to change the bill of material. You just probably change the actual items being consumed, because what happens in the default cycle that the work order just fetches the items, the required items from the bill of material, and this is what continues to be validated throughout the process. But let's say, for example, that you consumed you didn't consume 30 keyboard in this order, and you just consumed 35. You can change this on the stock entry level before you of time manufacturing, before you close the work order. So this can be a workaround. So it depends on the case. You may not need to change it or and so forth. And but I see there is a remark here: the purchase order of the required material are also processed. Not sure. Uh, not sure what are getting to be used for another. See, is there is no the reservation flow is a little bit different, but out of the box, if you didn't use the individual reservation flow, the projected quantity is very well documented report that you can review here. You're reviewing the documentation, how this projected quantity being handled. It showcases a lot of the operation parameter here. So here you will see it in bulk in terms of each item in each SKU. You will see how many items are being ordered and how many items are being reserved for the open work orders, but it actually is not allocated per order. There is a reservation flow. I'm not sure if it covers this kind of scenarios or not, but it will generate some deficit on the reporting level. So yeah, the materials, how ERPNext handle the defected NG materials that found in process or as the incoming of the material. Well, doing the purchase receipt, you have, I'm not sure if I have a purchase order. Okay, let's say can just duplicate it. And upon receipt of the purchased goods here, you can specify the rejected warehouse. Let's create one for rejected. And here you can specify the amount, the quantity are being rejected. So here the order is 50, just rejected here on the item level, and this is how you can handle the rejection as well. You can also link any if the item have any kind of quality inspection enabled on it. Let's say here quality inspection template. So this is where if you need to do any kind of quality inspection, and based on the quality inspection, you do the rejection. I have a question that is it available to calculate the cost of finished product based on time that was used to manufacturing it? Yes. So here, quickly, if you remember, yeah, this 60, so this is like the stock entry of type manufacturer that produced our keyboards here. And this actually got tracked a net of a 1 hour of operation, and this is the 1 hour of operation on the pre-configured station actually costed us $60 per hour. So yeah, this is how it works. And if you see here that the consumption value is $250, and the income value of the raw material of the finished goods is actually 310, and the difference here is the $60 that is being reported from the operation as showcased and as was configured and as it was updated through the job card as well. So yeah, this is pretty much available based on the configuration you use. Another question: how is machine breakdown accounted to machine downtime? That affects the cost of production of the port. There is no direct distribution, but you can customize it if you want to show any kind of machine breakdown as an expense according to the standards as well. I'm not sure about it, but there is no linkage. The downtime analysis and the downtime reporting doesn't do any kind of reflection on the cost. Maybe the cost of repair as well can be handled differently. How line rejections are addressed? Not so line rejections like do you mean the production line rejections? This can be configured through the quality inspection. There is no on-spot checks, but you can configure any kind of quality inspection. So you can't have like multiple this was one of the customization I have built that you can have what is called an on-spot check, on-spot quality inspection check, but which is actually basically a quality inspection document that is linked to a work order. But the standard cycle in ERPNext for the quality inspection for manufacturing is actually when closing the order, counting for the FG if it was pre-configured on the BOM level. That means you will share the link of recording by mail. I think yes, everyone will get. Ankita will, Frappe guys will be sending. CC have joined us. Things affect the bill of material and work order, how to have a production plan set. And you decided to shift instead of make, you should buy an a sub-assembly, for example, instead of make it in-house. I think You can just generate a different work order, or just generate a subcontracting order, and you can, in this case, you will need to update the internal work order that you have here. Yeah, we all have them, but let's say that this one was started. If you have a work order that just needs stopped after creating the order, or even partial creation, you can just update its status here. So this is like an active work order that is not finished yet. You can just close it or stop it, and this will reflect, will update the projected quantity in the right manner. So, and you can just generate another order to compensate it. So yeah, this can be one of the ways you can handle it. Hope it's clear. Thanks. So I think that will be all. Ankita, if you think that we need to stress on anything, I'm here.
I think, Meena, we are already have run out of time. So in case any one of you have any questions, you can reach out to us over our email. I'm just going to share that in the chat box so that anyone can reach out to us. Also, Meena, if you can just share your email ID as well, so anyone can reach out to you as well. So if you have any questions, please do reach out to us over here on this email ID. We have shared it in the chat box. Moreover, thank you, Meena, for that insightful session. That was really amazing, and it gave us an overview of how manufacturing company processes can be aligned in ERPNext. And also, I would request all the attendees to please share us your valuable feedback. I will just share the link with you in the chat box. It would be really nice if you can share your feedback because it will help us to improve in our future sessions as well and help you get more demos with regard to your requests. So thank you everyone for joining in, and thank you, Meena, for that wonderful insightful session. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.